Hello and a very warm welcome back to the channel. You might recognise where I am because I was here about 2 years ago shooting one of my favourite star trail shots that I've ever done. I am at Snettisham Jetty on the East Norfolk coast in the UK, in front of this vast mudflat. You probably hear all of the wading birds around me. It's an amazing place at night. Absolutely beautiful atmosphere. I've been here a couple of times for that star trail shot and also for some rising Orion action in the winter. Tonight though, I'm here for a very particular shot and I think it's probably going to be quite hard work. It's something I've been shying away from for a little bit, and that is a Winter Milky Way arch panorama. So with Orion over on sort of the left hand side, Cygnus setting towards the northwest on the right hand side of the image, and this lovely jetty in the middle of it. It's positioned quite nicely. I've just checked photo pills and it's looking like it lines up really, really well. Obviously I had checked that before I came here, but it's always good to check on the ground as well. It's just about getting dark. I can see Venus looking beautiful out there in the west. Jupiter is blazing right above me, and Sirius you can probably see behind me in the shot as well. There's still a few clouds in the sky at the moment, most notably over to the northwest, which is kind of where I want to start my panorama, but they look like they're moving, they're forecast to move on, and tonight is hopefully going to be a beautifully clear night. I think this panorama is going to take me possibly about 3 hours to do. I think it's probably about 18 or 24 individual panels, and I'd like to do both tracked and stacked. So ideally 4 tracked 2-minute exposures for each of the panes to really pull out some of that lovely detail in these shots. But we'll see how I'm doing for that. As it gets a little bit darker, I'm gonna shoot my foreground images, panorama images. Hopefully they'll look really nice and I'll be able to pull a bit of detail out from the jetty here as well. Sometimes these mudflats display really beautiful mud cracks as well. My Star Trails image had those cracks in it. Unfortunately today there are no cracks, it's just a bit of a muddy mess. There have been some people walking around here as well, so there's footprints everywhere. I'm making that worse. Hopefully you won't be able to see those too much in the image. Really, it's all about this beautiful jetty. So thanks very much indeed for joining me. Let's get on with it. I'm just doing a test shot here, and it's probably got a little bit darker than I would have liked to do these foreground shots, and I'm having to use a higher ISO than ideally I would have done, but I think that's okay. The new AI denoise in Lightroom does an amazing job really of foregrounds, and I really want to get a bit of detail out of this marshland. So the settings I am using here are 30-second exposure at f2.8 and ISO 6400, and it all seems to be reasonably in focus, which is obviously the main thing. So I'm going to now start doing the panorama foreground here, and I think I'll need 6 shots in total to get the full expanse that I'm after. Okay, I think they're starting to look quite nice. What I've tried to prioritise with this foreground is really it's all about the jetty and then a bit of marshland as well, but I don't think the marshland is going to really stand out on this image, so really it's all about the jetty. So I've tried to find a position where I have separation between each of the legs, the supports of the jetty, so where possible they're not overlapping each other, and then also in the little pools of water here I'm getting some nice reflections on those legs as well. So that's what I'm prioritising. I think that's what I've got from this location here, and I've taken in total 6 images in this panorama, and just to make sure I've got probably about 50% overlap on each image, I've rotated the head about 30 to 35 degrees each time. Now the field of view of this Sigma 24mm lens on this full frame camera is just over 70 degrees, so that should give me about 50% overlap, which should mean I don't have any problems stitching it afterwards. I don't use a nodal rail or anything like that, it's just a normal ball head, so hopefully this will be okay. I'm quite close to the jetty as well, so that may cause some challenges, but hopefully the right sort of panorama stitching software will sort that out. So that's the foreground done. I'm going to get myself off this very, very sticky mud now and take the camera just up onto the shingle up there where it's a bit cleaner. I can make sure everything doesn't get all filthy, so I can then start the sky exposures, and I need to start pretty swiftly now it's got dark, with Cygnus over there in the northwest before that sets, because I really want to get some of that nice North America nebulosity coming out on the right hand side of this image, and it's going to set pretty soon, so I need to get a move on really. test shot, 2-minute exposure, ISO 800 f2.8 with a 5-second interval. Let's give that a go. Okay, so first sky exposures. Tracking looks good. Exposure looks good. A little bit blown out on the horizon, but there are lights on the horizon, so I can't do much about that. But the sky, I think, is looking nice. I can see the North American nebula. Right, I think we just crack on and get 4 of these done. One of the best things about shooting panoramas is it kind of forces you to slow down. You've got periods, in this case, of 8 minutes where, you know, I can't really do anything else other than just wait under the stars. And particularly when I'm making videos like this, I don't do that enough. So already, and I'm only on the 3rd panel, it's just allowing me just to sit and or stand and enjoy what's above my head and actually take in this arch that I'm photographing. And it really is an obvious arch from round here. We're in a reasonably dark place. There's some light pollution around on the horizons, but it's fairly dark. And the arch starts off down there in Cygnus, which is setting in the northwest, and comes up through Cassiopeia, Perseus, really looking bright in Perseus and bright in Auriga, and then down past the left of Orion through Canis Major and Sirius over there. Pretty nice sight, really. Okay, that's the first row finished. I'm pretty happy with those. I'm a bit nervous to the south. There's the town of King's Lynn, which is chucking out quite a bit of light pollution. And I'm slightly nervous I'm going to have an overexposed light dome over there. But I'll hopefully fix that in post-production. We'll have to see. I'm just going to add, while I can, the dew heater on here, because I do not want to risk my lens fogging up halfway through. That would be a very preventable mistake. So let's just get that plugged in. So I've gone from the northwest, where Cygnus is, all the way over to the, I guess, the southeast, where Canis Major is, and Monoceros just to the left of it there. I'm now going to go back to the northwest and get the next panel. So I just need to re-level everything here. So dew heater is on. There's plenty of battery. Let's go. So one of the reasons I decided to come here tonight is because it's just such an amazing place to be at night. I mean, the skies are great. There's a bit of a light dome down there to the south. And otherwise it's a lovely dark sight. I mean, you can see very clearly the arch of the Milky Way going right overhead from horizon to horizon pretty much. But the thing that makes it special is it's just such an experience hearing all those birds out on the mudflats there, and just knowing these mudflats are vast and they just stretch out in front of you, and across them all are these chattering birds. You've got Lincolnshire on the other side of the wash over there, but between here and there is just water and these mudflats. And it's just so peaceful here, apart from the bird sounds. There's no one else around, which I find bizarre. I mean, we're only 15 minutes away from where you can park a car, and it's a very easy path along here. I'm just surprised really that no one else comes here at night to just experience the sounds that you get out there with the stars above your head. I think it's pretty special. That's the end of the third row. What I need to do now is make a call on whether or not I need to do another row. And if I'm honest, I really hope that I don't. But looking at what I've got, there is a risk that I miss. I'll chop off the very top, which means, unfortunately, I'm going to have to do a fourth row. Okay, well, no point getting upset about it. Let's just get on to it. So shooting this arch panorama tonight is really taking me outside of my comfort zone. I've not shot a Milky Way arch for probably getting on for a couple of years now, certainly not a tracked and stacked one. And the reason for that is a couple of years ago, one just went completely wrong. It wouldn't stitch, and that kind of took the wind out of my sails a bit. But when we were in the Eifel region of Germany with Jeroen a couple of weeks ago, he shot a winter arch panorama, and I was considering doing the same thing that night, but I just wimped out. I just thought, what if it doesn't stitch? What if I mess it up? So that bothered me, that I was scared to fail. So tonight, if it fails, it doesn't matter. It's been a wonderful night under the stars, but hopefully this will be the start of more arch panoramas and more kind of grand panoramas for me. It's something which I have really enjoyed doing in the past. I remember when I did my first ever Milky Way arch panorama down in Cornwall, and I was absolutely blown away by it. So I really want to get them back into my tool set and to remove the fear of doing them. So that's kind of why I came out here tonight. That's why it's really been the only thing I've been focusing on tonight, and hopefully it will all work out okay. It will all work out okay. Well, this is the final pane of the final image in the final row. Over 100 images will have gone into this image tonight, so I hope it turns out all right, and I'll pop it up on the screen in just a second. I imagine editing it is going to be a bit of a challenge as well, but it's been fantastic coming out here tonight. I've really enjoyed just having a relatively chilled out night under the stars. I've been fairly tethered to this tripod so that I could just keep moving the panorama along, which has meant actually I haven't been running around too much. I've been taking some time lapses and some other shots, but generally I've been here just taking in the sky above my head and the wonderful sounds from out on the mudflats. So whether or not the image turns out any good is kind of neither here nor there, because the experience tonight has just been outstanding. If you got this far, then thank you very much indeed for watching. I really appreciate you coming along for these adventures as well, and I look forward to seeing you on another Nightscape adventure very soon. Well, if I'm honest, these images were a little disappointing to me. They were very difficult to edit, and if happiness is the difference between expectation and reality, then unfortunately these images fell short. But do you know what? That is Astro sometimes. You don't always get what you set out to achieve, and that in no way detracted from an awesome night out under the stars. Anyway, let me know what you think